Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and as always, welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussions. This time, we're discussing She's Gonna Get You. Well, we're converting Devil Woman by Cliff Richards into, in this one, a character idea, taking some character inspirations from it, whether that's for a single character or the whole party, kind of working that around in there and figuring that out. So, that's the plan for this one. We are on the last chat of 2024's Neolithic November. We're almost to the end of the year, people. So, you've almost made it through. I don't have any announcements let's get into Dan's introductions and announcements. So, I don't have any real announcements for the end of November that I can think of at the moment, but we are recording in October, so I reserve the right in November to change my mind. So, I guess just check us out at innofplanarcrossroads.com or theiopc.com, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Twitch, Subscribestar, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, PayPal, Locals, and of course our Patreon. The links are there for most of those things, so check that out. And we would love to have either your view or your support, or both, whichever you feel comfortable with. That's the plan. And along with me today is Peter from Tales from Elsewhere.
Hello, I'm Peter. I'm the creator and lead designer over at Tales from Elsewhere, which is a series of action horror tabletop role-playing games that are currently in development. So come check out the YouTube channel. I post a lot of rants about tabletop design, going into the mathematics of it, the design philosophy, and talking about my game there. So yeah, come hang out and talk design with me.
Yeah, you can talk about his cybernetic zombie steampunk things. Do that. It's one of the videos.
It's true.
All right. And then we have Skrat.
It's me. I am Skrat from A Squirrel Plays, also on YouTube, and I like to make videos about similar stuff, but more so the writing side of it. Character building, world building, plots and stories and things like that, and I will do a lot of comparisons to movies and video game stories, but lots of focus on TTRPGs. I get to review TTRPGs from time to time, usually try to poke around with the lesser known ones. And I would say lower budget, but I did buy the Transformers one recently. So,
Oh no. He was just talking about wanting. I've had this real itch to play Neolithic game. No. It's like, no, that's not this Neolithic game, You're buying specific. Oh,
Neolithic Transformers.
Neolithic
Beast Wars. Look, come on, man.
Hey, yeah, there's still Transformers.
The Dinobots, come on.
It's pretty cool.
There. Yeah. But anyway. That's what I do. I try to get other people to share their stuff when they're not as, professional as Peter, and they're just sitting around their house making their own games. Get to share some of those from time to time, or at least partake in them. They're fun.
I definitely don't just sit here at this desk and make this whole game in my free time. No, I'm definitely a professional designer. Yeah.
Yeah, he's so professional.
I mean, he can't really argue against it. Have you seen the production quality on his videos? Honestly.
Hey, if Tim, my editor, is watching, you're the best, everybody says.
It's definitely a step up from PowerPoint, shall we say. Yeah. What? Was someone called out? No? Okay.
Not me, right. Not the PowerPoint squirrel.
All right. Well, that's Dan's introductions and announcements, which means we're to Levi's Spotlight. This month, Levi's Spotlight has been Spencer Quaid Hobby. He is at 1,030 subscribers. We're trying to get him up to 15. So go over there, watch some of his videos, puts together some dioramas, and does model painting and things like that. I especially liked the Otherworldly Landscape diorama. That was a good one. So check those out. Tell him that In a Planar the IOPC sent you to him, or that Tales from Elsewhere did, or that Skrat from a Squirrel Plays did. You can give the credit to whomever you wish, or tag all three. Just tag all three in there and say, these people sent me over. But there you go. That's the idea with that. And that means you're done with Levi's shout-out. It is now time, for the final time in Neolithic November of 2024, to grab your preferred beverage. Join us around the hearth. There might even be a fire going since it's late November. As we discuss. She's gonna get you. Let's go. All right. Now we're into it. Okay, who wants to go first with the character ideas?
I can start this time.
Okie dokie.
I have 2 character ideas. These would be player characters. So I like to play losers. So I like to play the unheroic character, a down on their luck character. I like characters that fail. So when I read the lyrics to this song, one of the first things that came to mind is to be the guy singing it who got absolutely his life, ruined in some way, or, he's the one warning people about the devil woman. So would be somebody who has had a run-in as part of his backstory with some sort of sorceress lady, right? And that he did not come out of it, great, and now he's warning others. So somebody who'd be paranoid about magic, would be against its use, even, if you do have magic in the adventure that's helping people, he'd still not trust it, right? He would think all that's devilry. So that was my first inspiration, that it would be a character that has no magical abilities and would be against the use of magic, having been in this experience previously, which would make their, if you're using one of the adventures we talked about last time, would make their interactions with the titular devil woman all the more tense because they won't trust them, right? If they're the villain or a misunderstood person in the story. So that was my first thought. Second thought would be to be the devil woman, of course, but as a charlatan. Again, somebody with no magic. Somebody that convinces other people that they can see the future, that they can do these things to people, that the potions they feed them are magic. But in reality, they're actually just some sort of equivalent of a huckster, right? They're, to use a D&D classes, they'd be something like a rogue almost, right? They're actually just very good with their sleight of hand. They do magic, but it's really just palming things. And they see the future just by being smart and guessing likely events. I think that character would be really fun to play, and to not tell the rest of the party that you don't have magic initially, and see how long you can fool them.
Fair enough.
That was my 2.
Okie dokie.
Well, with my example of the right devil woman song, the proper one, the real one. I will continue with the comedic approach for this one, since that's how it started. And I mentioned in the last one, just big, dumb Unga and Bunga and Chunga and Wunga cavemen. Don't know anything, low negative intelligence. And I brought up Meatheads, the game in the last one, where strength is your only stat. So that kind of approach. But I did think it would be kind of neat. If you remember what I said about the tribal leader women that had the ability to use magic, you could have a maximum of 1 of those in your party. So, but I think it'd be neat if they could use their magic, and their magic would be really, 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 really beneficial. But it would mess up all the dumb brutes on the party somehow. Like, it would drastically affect their ability to do anything, because they're all. I don't want to say superstitious, because they're all following this lady, right? And whatever tribe they're in, they all have one. So, but they don't trust it, and it messes them up and makes everything harder. So you'd have to weigh, okay, this can really change the tide in a good way, but also in a bad way. Do I want to do it? But I do like the idea of having only one person can be that in the party. I think that would be interesting to do. Whereas everybody else is more or less the same, and you just have that one special sticking out.
Well, come on. One uses a club, and one uses a rock. Totally different.
I cast rock, yes.
And then the other one casts fist.
Yeah, these are very different. Well, and I like the, you brought up that having restrictions on party composition do make sense if you're doing Neolithic. If everybody's the sorceress lady, then, oh wow, they're actually really common, apparently. All 6 of you, your whole tribe is just people with magic. So having those limitations so that the Devil Woman, from the song is special as a player character would be nice, right?
Yeah. Hey, I was on a note of limited party comp there. Dim Day Red, I brought it up a couple times. I got to play it not too long ago. I don't think it's like a hard rule, but then again, I guess in TTRPGs nothing really is, right? But I think there's a line there that says it really, really, really encourages you not to have the same. It's powered by the Apocalypse system, so they call them playbooks, but they want everybody to be something different instead of having 2 of the same thing, so you could really play off of each other. I think that's the only game granted, I've only played a handful, but that's the only one I've seen say that specifically, where they're like, don't overlap.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I play and run a lot of Dungeons and Dragons still, and even though I'm critical of it, like on my channel and all that, but I actually do still like love my D&D group and have fun. But I can't remember the last time I didn't put a restriction on character creation or play in a game that didn't have that. Right? Every single time I'm putting some sort of restriction on player character creation in D&D, just because I think you make something more cohesive for the narrative if it's not 6 clerics or something, right? And especially when you're doing a purpose-built story like a Neolithic one, you want to narrow it in if you're going to use a system not immediately designed for your setting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, from what little I remember about the rules in the game, I don't feel like it would break anything if you did have multiples of the same, whereas other games I can see, like run a team of clerics, right? Isn't that the meme or whatever?
Yeah,
that
team of bards is also a really good one.
Yeah.
A team of clerics, especially because I think one of the differences that comes across when you have class-based games instead of skill-based games is that classes are usually designed to be built in different ways as they become more specialized, which you don't see in skill-based games, which I think Powered by the Apocalypse is. You have playbooks, but they're still skill-based playbooks or something like that.
Well, it probably depends on the game, but they're pretty much a class. That's all it is. The playbook's a class.
Housed in one document.
Yeah, it's like so. In Dim Day Red, your playbook is your race, a little bit of your background, your class, and your list of abilities and stuff. That's all there. It's almost a pre-made character. Right. In Dim Day Red. I don't know if that's how every Powered by the Apocalypse one is.
They're often, the playbooks are pretty, not a straitjacket, but they're pretty encapsulated as far as the concept goes. But now that we mentioned a party of clerics, to be honest, that would actually be a really interesting game if everybody had to be a different god and domain all brought together to stop some threat to all like divine powers or something. Party of clerics, that could actually be pretty cool.
And they would probably wipe a lot of the challenge too, because they would.
Yeah, they all just cast like spirit guardians and just walk through a fight and everything just dies.
We all cast Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Well, come at me, bro.
Each Unga and Bunga could be from a different tribe, so you could kind of do that.
Tribes unite against her.
Trying to filter a cleric into a Neolithic game could still be really interesting. I think it'd be hard to do, and it would take a lot of homebrew if you're trying to force Dungeons and Dragons into this space, right? Which, you can do, I guess. But that could be neat. But again, I think we were all agreeing really high magic stuff just undermines what makes Neolithic so special, which is the challenge of everyday things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can use early versions of D&D to do a lot of the stuff we're talking about, though. I guess that's something we have overlooked. So before I get into my characters, that's something we've kind of overlooked, is that when we keep saying D&D, we're usually talking about 5e, but there's 1e, 2e, and then, in a much less of a sense, 3, where things were much more deadly. A lot of the adventures that you see during that time period expected people to die. All you'd have to do is just switch out the theming, and it would be very close to some of the things we're talking about. So if that's something you're willing to do, you can do that. You can even change it to where the class or the race is. If you want to do full human, you just change it to tribes. That's all you do. Only beings from this tribe can do this. Only beings of this tribe have this ability. And this tribe lives in the caves a lot, so they really know where how the stones work and stuff. And kind of tone down that stuff.
Yeah, like the OSR movement would actually be pretty decent for this space. You could probably even take something like Shadow Dark and its reliance on light, right? If you want to do really Neolithic and the limitations of light, and try to make a Neolithic Shadow Dark hack, maybe, it would probably work pretty well. And that's a good point, right? Those old school styles. I don't play much OSR, so it doesn't come to mind immediately, right? When I'm talking about these designs, it's just not a space I'm as familiar with.
Yeah, and you can look at those. I should have brought it up during the travel one, but a lot of those old hex crawls as specific inspiration for that too.
I need to give me some hex crawl experience. We did a tiny bit of it in the Mouse Ritter play by post, but it seems cool.
It's
well run, they're fun.
Yep. Okay, so the character ideas that I had, I thought you could take it two different ways. If you're taking it in the vengeful way of this man's, I'm taking the guy. I'm saying that he's the character that I'm looking at. So you can do it with a group or an individual if the group has been wronged by this individual, which is possible because this individual in this devil woman seems to be someone who's wronging more than just one person, you would assume, in this sequence. So you could take it where the whole party has been wronged, and that's why maybe they're branded and cast out from their own, taking a more serious route. Maybe the devil woman brands in some way these people that have been wronged by her. And it could be something as simple as this green-eyed cat always showing up at this one house, and that's how they know the devil woman has marked that one, or something like that. And they throw that one person out of the tribe for the safety of the tribe. And that might be something that the player doesn't actually hate the tribe for. They hate the devil woman for. And so people that have been marked by the devil woman might finally say, we've had enough. We come together. So this party comes together. And they become effectively witch hunters. And so they're marked by the devil woman in some way, whether that's the cat following them around and appearing around them, or some kind of physical brand on the body. Or change in the eyes. It could be the green eyes of the cat come into their eyes. And so that's how that might be a good way to mark them. But using that and making them all witch hunters now. So basically you're kind of taking Stone Age Witcher type of thing happening, and they become witch hunters and monster hunters in the Stone Age. That would be pretty cool. I mean, that would be pretty cool, a Stone Age Witcher type of situation. So there you go. So that's one avenue, taking the group. On a more individual basis, you could also do it again where this person is marked by the gypsy woman and they owe her a debt. And that's what you're seeing here. So to use the song more personally and directed for information, they did answer some kind of mystical call. And the song itself had as part of its description in here is the song is told from the point of view of a man jinxed from an encounter with a stray cat with evil eyes, and his discovery that the psychic medium, a gypsy woman, whose help he sought to break the curse, was the one responsible for the curse in the first place, which makes that very interesting in that she's kind of captured him. And again, using that Baba Yaga boogeyman style situation, she's captured him by him answering this call thinking it was something he needed or something he needed to do. But she's got the crystal ball on the table. She shows him future and past events that are true and correct. Like she has some kind of ability there. And the same cat with evil eyes, and I knew that it was a spell she had cast. So in seeing the future and the past, he has become ensorcelled in that moment. And the next one is about him giving her the ring on his finger, and her seeing the lines on his hand and giving that prophecy about that tall dark stranger that's giving something that he hadn't planned. So that's someone that you can either be, maybe that's one of the party members. He had never planned to meet up. And in this ensorcelment, he drinks the potion that she offered and finds himself on the floor. Possibly he's on the floor outside of the, wherever, maybe it was a gypsy wagon if you're using the out of time type of thing, and it's just kind of this classic looking one that he enters. And then he after he drinks that, he wakes up on the floor of the forest with this cat sitting on his chest looking down at him with those big green eyes, the same eyes that match the woman and the same eyes that he now has, perhaps as that mark. And so you can move through this story, see that. And then she still captures more people. And I think that if we use him as this focus here, you could use it to where the thing he wants to do is break the curse, but he has to get his ring back to do that. And so that might be the token that you could use that as the token that he has to get back.
Yeah, that's cool. I was looking at the lyric here, the one that made me inspired for the charlatan version, where it goes, the same one you're talking about. Give me the ring on your finger, let me see the lines on your hand. I can see me, a tall, dark stranger, giving you what you hadn't planned. The nice thing about that, we imagine it's a charlatan saying, is it's like a Nostradamus-esque prophecy that it's like gonna come true by just the law of odds. So, I think you could have fun as a character trying to write these, and then telling them to your Unga and Bunga party members who with their dump stat intelligences. You can say, let me see your hand. Oh yeah, when the moon is nigh, and then you just kind of rail off something. And I'm trying to do something more humorous here, Skrat, you'd be proud. Where constructing it all as a way to control others, like in a more playful manner, like trying to help make sure Unga and Bunga keep helping you by giving them these prophecies that then you could help fulfill, right? Or that are almost inherently going to happen. Like a tall, dark stranger giving you something unexpected. That'll happen, right? In your day-to-day life eventually. And you'll be like, there it is.
Yeah. Well, she tells Unga and Bunga, when the moon and sun share the sky, Unga and Bunga will have great power. And this person knows that it's like right around the time of year, like in autumn, where the sun and moon will share the sky. And then she'll look out and say, look, the sun and moon share the sky. Unga and Bunga are at their peak.
Yeah. And the potion is just because she discovered how to ferment things. And so, it's just moonshine, basically, that she feeds them. So it knocks them out on the floor, right? But it's a powerful potion.
Yeah, she calls it her white lightning, yes.
Yeah, and then you keep the ruse up for as long as you can at the table with the other players as well.
Oh, yeah, so she has to wait for like a thunderstorm to come by and lightning strikes for her to say, okay, now I can bust out the moonshine. Now I can bust out the white
that was me casting thaumaturgy right now to use D&D, right? Yeah, the thunder there, yeah.
All right. Let's see. I think that's mostly what I would go for as far as an individual. For the group, you can mix up all of those different things or have the eyes be the uniting thing or however you want to do that. So that's mine. We are at 25 minutes. It's a smidge early, but if you want, we can bounce into Skrat's final question.
It's a really easy one tonight.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. What are the odds of you running or joining a new game before this time next year?
For me, I can answer that right now. For me, those odds are extremely low because I don't get a lot of play. I don't get a lot of time to play. So,
I mean, the odds are extremely high for me of playing. Or you say playing this game or playing a game?
A Neolithic type of
The Neolithic. Oh, almost certainly not. Just simply because my gaming windows are very narrow, and I have to use them to run tests for my game or demos for my game. Generally speaking, like I'm running games. Well, when recording this, I'm running like 2 indie RPGs tomorrow. Next weekend, I'm at a mini con running my game. Like all my game time is like booked. So to add in a different game is tough.
I was just talking with Dave earlier today about his Ironbound, and he said he made it because he couldn't find an urban fantasy game he liked. And now he's like, I'm so tired of urban fantasy. Because he keeps having to play it all the time.
I haven't
tested it.
I'm not sick of Westerns, and I don't think I ever will be, luckily. Because I've been running tests for the game for several years now, and still good. I'm just a Western nerd, I guess. I really like it. We'll see when I get to the other setting books, and how I feel with that. But so far, I've run the same adventure like a bunch of times, too, because I have to focus test things, and I haven't gotten too sick of it yet. Yeah, I'm doing all right.
That's
my future.
I guess it depends if Tales of Elsewhere starts to branch into Tales of the Stone Age or not, See?
I have, no joke, thought about that because I really like the movie Quest for Fire. And so I've thought about, boy, that would be an interesting challenge to make a version of that, because I already have plans for like a medieval fantasy. I have a science fiction setting. I have a number of things already sketched out. And I just watched Furiosa the other day, and now I want to make a Mad Max game, right? So maybe Neolithic isn't that crazy. We'll see.
So are all these going to take your Tales from Elsewhere rules and then just kind of flavor it for something else? Or
Yeah, we don't have to spend a lot of time, talking about my game necessarily, but the core rules will be shared across all of them, as the core resolution systems are not setting specific. The way it is played is suited for action horror type gameplay that will basically, a setting book adds all the player options, all the monsters for that setting, but the core system works just fine across others. And they'll each just have their own setting book, with lore and monsters and stuff. But yeah, they'll be cross-compatible as well. You can mix them to make, a Western magic setting if you wanted to. So, got all sorts of plans.
There you go.
Cool.
So maybe a Neolithic one. So got to add that in now. Add it to the list.
Yeah.
Well, you got to answer your own question, Skrat.
I mean, last year I ran some, so after I got motivated, ran some nuts.
I will say, if you run a Neolithic Nuts game, I will make time. I will attend.
Okay.
Because I want to test. I like playing indie RPGs. I like playing in them. I think everyone has something to teach me, to be honest. Every role-playing game is something I can learn from, even if it's not the genre that I'm working in. So
I'll teach you what not to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, some games I read or play and I'm like, wow, I definitely didn't enjoy that. I think I've watched your game on Avenue Studios, so I think I'm going to enjoy it.
That was fun. The Western one was fun. I don't know if you watched the Fallout one. But
yeah, I think every role-playing game, it's almost, if people are out there designing their own games, read and play games that aren't in the genre you normally play in, because you are missing out on lessons to learn from other designers.
Yep. Play more games. That's what Dan would say.
Play more games.
Yeah, if you're like me, you just end up reading more games, really, because you don't have time to play that many.
Okie dokie. Well, let's see. I think we're pretty set as far as the different things we've discussed this time. So just to review for you viewers, we've talked about scarcity in games as far as resources and stuff like that. I think we all agree that durability can be a very useful thing if you borrow the kind of system from Mouse Ritter. It also allows you to reward the different tiers of durability and increasing those, as well as not only durability being a benefit that people can strive for in their items, but storage capacity being a thing that people like to get. They they get a special bag that has one more slot in it. Oh, that means something. We went through travel problems in that exploration type of thing on a larger scale, going from one place to another. Getting Skrat on the down the road of wanting to play not only a Neolithic game, but a hex crawl Neolithic game. So,
Well, maybe.
And of course, we've been talking about Devil Woman. Hopefully you have enjoyed that. So, we appreciate you stopping by and enjoying the discussion about Devil Woman by Cliff Richard and got some inspiration from it. We hope you have enjoyed and been able to pop over to Spencer Quaid Hobby and check them out. Maybe subscribe if you want to. Tales from Elsewhere, getting them a subscription as well. And checking out the stuff that's coming out around his new game. And A Squirrel Plays, doing those pro PowerPoint productions that he does. Right. So, there you go. And as always, we thank you for stopping by and visiting the Inn of Planar Crossroads. Travelers, as you depart, know that we say to you, have a great day, God bless, and enjoy. Bye.
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we've already done bathroom break, so if y'all are ready, I'm pretty much ready to jump into the next one.
I'm set.
We got to get at it before Skrat gets too tired.
I know, I got the camera on. I gotta hold back the yawns. This is usually when I start falling apart.
He usually starts falling apart around the... Well, let's be honest. Around the third one, he starts falling apart, and it goes down. He's a creature of habit. Wants to go to bed. But that's okay.
Say that the ability to read is the first to go.
All right. Y'all ready?
Yep.
Okay. Room tone.